Elden Ring is a massive open-world RPG that throws huge bosses at you with the intent to get you killed as quickly as possible. You are humbled from the moment you step foot into the world by a man on a horse who literally one-shots you the second you make your way out of the starting zone, which quickly teaches you that even though you think you're in a starting area, there are still mobs to avoid. These lessons in Elden Ring are learned the hard way, as we die and die again and again in order to learn what we did wrong in the first place, timing dodges, using flasks at the right moment, and utilizing ashes and abilities to gain the upper hand are all crucial to success. But what about those who have never touched a Souls-like a day in their life or have no clue how or where to begin in Elden Ring? Here is a very beginner-friendly guide to help those who literally are just starting their first Souls-like game or are just diving into a game like Elden Ring for the very first time. Before we get started, it is worth noting that doing the tutorial in the beginning of the game can be super helpful. To get there, simply go through the initial starting area where you get killed by a giant flailing crab-like monster and sent down below. Once there, run towards the ghost man sitting in a chair who happens to be right next to a giant hole in the ground. Jump into the hole in the ground and begin the tutorial. This teaches you the basics, like how to use the Site of Grace mechanic, how to fight enemies that are easy, hard, and even a boss. You also get around 500 runes to boot, which is a nice boost before heading up into the outside world. Now that that's out of the way, let's continue to the actual tips. Resting at the first few sites of grace triggers an NPC to appear that will help you get Torrent, your steed that you're going to use throughout your playthrough. Not only does meeting Melina, which is the NPC, at the sites of grace help you acquire Torrent, but she also opens up the ability to use runes at sites of grace to increase your stats and level up. In order to meet Melina, you will need to rest at 3 sites of grace in the open world only. Resting at sites within dungeons does not count. Leveling up is imperative early on, as you are going to die about 10 million times starting out, and the only way to help slow that 10 million deaths to about 1 million deaths per minute is to level up your base stats and, of course, find better gear. Exploring is the bread and butter of Elden Ring, but you don't want to wander too far off in the wrong direction because that can get you two clapped by a guy on a horse or one wielding a torch. Exploring is 100% necessary, but it can be very dangerous, so make sure that you have full flask charges and you pay attention to the enemies and the world around you. Exploring will help you find new areas, chests, easy enemies to kill for runes, and more sites of grace that you will need to rest at in order to meet Melina, but also resting at these sites will replenish your charges on your flasks. Exploring also gives you the opportunity to find materials on the ground that can be used in crafting or sold to merchants for more runes to help you level up. You can also sell old equipment or equipment that just isn't as good as what you currently have on for more runes to level up your attributes. There is no right or wrong way to explore, as the world is vast and filled with chests and enemies to score you some great loot early on. And killing a group of enemies in a given area, resetting them by using a Site of Grace, and then killing them again is a great way to farm runes without pushing the envelope on more powerful enemies that you might find as you traverse the lands between. When gathering new items such as swords or flails per se, you will need to determine whether or not you can use that item. But how do you tell whether or not your character can equip that particular item or piece of armor? Inside the equipment menu, when selecting a new piece of gear, you will see this box right here, which says attributes required. This will tell you that you need to level up a certain attribute in order to utilize that piece of gear, and you will need to do so using runes. This is easily missed as there's a lot of information on the equipment menu, so don't feel bad if you didn't notice it immediately when starting the game. Just be careful when you are spending your runes and spend wisely. But again, don't feel bad for trying something out and not liking it. You can always reset these later on down the line, and these aren't permanent. So don't feel like you messed up entirely by picking attributes to level up when you weren't 100% sure. Sometimes when you kill an enemy, you will notice that a blue or red wave of what appears to be essence enters your body, and this replenishes your flask charges depending on the color of the essence that enters your character. Red, of course, replenishes health flasks, and blue replenishes FP flasks. This comes in handy when you only have 1 flask left and an enemy decides to give you a bit of a boost. But if you don't understand what these essences mean when they enter your character, you might miss the opportunity to use a flask because you thought you didn't have any left. Vigor and endurance are crucial to your success in Elden Ring, as Vigor gives you more HP to play with and endurance gives you more stamina as well as robustness, but it also determines how much weight on your equipment that you can carry. This is very important as you make progress, as some of the best weapons in the game are quite heavy and add to your equip load. So you will need to enhance the ability to carry more equipment to use better armor and weapons as you make your way through the game. There are so many weapons to choose from, and there are no right or wrong ways to choose weapons. Just choose what you think is best for your playstyle. One of the most important things about this game is to have fun, even though you're not going to have fun in the beginning. As somebody that has quit this game 4 times because of dying over and over and over again, that is the point of Elden Ring. The point is to die over and over and over again until you finally defeat that boss that you have been trying to take down for days, weeks, sometimes months, and you get that satisfactory feeling of that boss finally being defeated. You felled that boss, you did it, it took time, but you built your character, and you were able to take down a boss that you never thought you'd be able to take down. That is the point of Elden Ring. When I first started out, I got clapped by everything in this game. I did not want to play it anymore. I felt like I was a failure. I just wasn't good at the game. I was never going to be good at the game. I'm still not very good at the game. Having played and understanding the mechanics of the game and the features of the game, I have gotten so much better, and it feels so good to actually be good at this game because it has a huge learning curve. If you can get past that initial hump and that initial learning curve, you will be able to play this game and have fun playing it, especially as you begin to get gear and you begin to understand the world around you. You start to understand different enemies and how they attack and how to dodge and how to use your flasks at the right time. That is the point of Elden Ring. And even though in the beginning it's extremely daunting and it seems absolutely impossible and like you're never going to make any progress because you keep dying, just keep respawning, keep going, keep trying, earn those runes, spend them wisely, and just get your character to a good place, and you will be successful. I promise. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I am not a good Souls-like player. I played Bloodborne and I was great at that game, but other than that, I have never been good at Souls-likes, and I can finally say that I am doing much better because I gave Elden Ring a chance and I took the time to really sit back and learn the mechanics, do the tutorial, and understand each and every single attribute in the game. Inside of the menu, if you're struggling to understand what vigor or endurance or intelligence or mind, if you don't understand what those are, make sure to go through the entire menu, and if you select the help button at the bottom of the screen and you choose the description choice, I think it's called description. I'm going to put it on the screen and I'll circle it so you can see what it's called. But if you choose that, you'll be able to hover over every single attribute that is inside of your character window and get a rundown of exactly what it means and what it does. And I know that that's going to take a lot of time, but it's so worth it because it explains everything that you need to know when you're looking at different attributes or what you want to spend your runes on. This is how you tell what you should spend your runes on and what you want to focus on if you're working towards a specific build. That's going to do it for this Elden Ring guide. As always, if you like the video, then like the video. And if you like my content in general, then please subscribe to my channel because it means the absolute world to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!